Entonces, esto puede ir acompañado, o no te voy a decir en entrevista, pero sí de imágenes con gafas de VR que podría grabar... Bienvenidos, ya estamos aquí en la Encounter 13 en Tolosa, después de 13 ediciones que llevamos aquí. Qué bien nos tratan en Tolosa.
¿Cuánto tiempo ya?
Es increíble. Bueno, y que sepáis, como ya sabéis, esta edición tenemos varias entrevistas que hemos preparado para hacer a varios desarrolladores. Pero antes de eso, comentar que tenemos que dar gracias a todas las instituciones que nos apoyan, como por ejemplo la Diputación de Guipúzcoa, Euskaltel, que nos apoya siempre. Y gracias a vosotros, o bueno, a los participantes que habéis venido aquí a la Guipúzcoa Encounter, porque agotaron las 400 entradas para tener puesto en 2,1 segundos.
2,1 segundos, Cristian. Impresionante.
Quizás luego hablemos un poco más de eso, de cómo
más tarde
se hizo todo eso, porque la primera entrevista que tenemos que irnos... En principio va a ser hasta Suecia, pero al final nos vamos a ir un poquito más lejos, hasta Estados Unidos, porque nuestro invitado, Simon Viklund, de TenChambers, está en el GDC, pero ha dicho, ¿por qué voy a estar en el GDC cuando puedo estar hablando con la gente de la Guipúzcoa Encounter? Y por eso, pues, le tenemos aquí.
Hello, Simon. Welcome to the Guipúzcoa Encounter 13 stream. And first of all, we really want to thank you for having time with us today. We know that you are currently attending the GDC, and your schedule is really tight, so we are really grateful that you are with us today. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, it's really great to have you here. Thanks a lot for making time for us.
Well, bueno, básicamente ha habido un pequeño problema porque pensábamos que estaba en el GDC, pero al final, y estaba planeado que estuviese en el GDC, pero al final él no puede estar en el GDC. Pero ha dicho, igualmente, pues va a estar aquí con nosotros. Entonces, un momentillo, que tengo que mirar una cosa... Bueno, para empezar, porque, a ver, yo conozco a Simon Viklund, porque he jugado casi todos sus juegos, pero hay igual gente que no conoce. Entonces, ¿quién es Simon Viklund? Vida, obra y milagros de este creador.
Well, as a way of introducing yourself to our viewers, because maybe some of them that are there watching the stream, maybe they don't know you or they don't know the games you've been working working on. Sorry, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Simon Viklund?
Making games for about 19 years. Started out at Grin, a Swedish game developer company.
A little problem. We had.
Yeah, we just had a problem with the sound and it cut off. So, do you mind if to start from the beginning with the answer? Sorry about it.
Yeah, no worries. Do you think it was on my end?
No, it was on our end. It was on our end. Don't worry. Sorry about it.
I'm checking the cables here and everything.
No, it was definitely on our end. Sorry about it. So I was saying, so as an introduction for those viewers that are not familiar with your work, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I've been working making games for 19 years. Mainly working with audio, directing voice actors, making sound design and implementing sound and music and dialogue in games. But I've also dabbled a little bit in game design and working a lot with documentation of game mechanics and so on and so forth. You may have heard my music in Bionicle Commander Rearmed. I think that was the first game that really where people, I guess, started noticing my music. That was back in 2008. And then I made the music for Payday the Heist and Payday 2. And now I'm working on a horror, a 4-player cooperative horror action game called GTFO, and I'm making the same sort of stuff for that game. Yeah, and I'm also sort of a community manager for the team because we're such a small development team.
De hecho, Simon Viklund es muy activo en redes sociales y tiene un canal de YouTube en el que tiene cosas muy interesantes. Por ejemplo, enseña cómo montaba o cómo creaba las canciones del Payday, por ejemplo. Entonces, ¿cree que eso es una forma buena de llegar a la gente? ¿O cómo lo ve?
Yeah, talking about that role you just mentioned, about the community manager role, okay, you have a really active YouTube channel, for example, where you have samples like how you create your songs, how you create the payday themes and stuff. So, do you think that helps you to get more approachable, more closer to your fans and to the people that like your games, that like to play your games?
Not my personal YouTube channel. No, I don't think that has a lot of impact on that. No, I'm actually not very active. I'd say on the YouTube channel. I release a video maybe every 3 months or 6 months or something like that. It's not a good track record for my YouTube channel, but I got a lot of followers. I don't deserve as many followers that I have because I'm not active. But yeah, I try to release something every once in a while. But no, I don't know why I've been like chosen to be the community manager. I can express myself in English, and I think that was one of the main criterias for being chosen back in the early days of Grin. I went to E3 and some other similar conventions and like events, and did interviews for the company, represented the company. So I kind of was I don't know, educated in how to I guess behave and not be nervous before an interview. So that's how I guess I ended up doing a lot of that stuff.
Vamos, que está por accidente de community manager en ese caso de GTFO, pero que todo empezó porque él estaba en Green, que era una compañía anterior a Overkill incluso, que iba a los eventos y como hablaba inglés, pues es el calificativo por el que consiguió más o menos que le dijeran que se dedicara a eso, aunque él no cree que sea un tipo muy activo, ni que, por ejemplo, este canal de YouTube que hemos comentado, en el que sí que tiene ejemplos de cómo montar las canciones y tal, pues no le parece que esté muy activo. Entonces, ¿tuviste algo que ver con la decisión, remontándonos a los tiempos del Bionic Commando, ¿tuviste algo que ver con la decisión de que los temas que tú hayas compuesto para la canción fuesen remezclados por otros estudios, por ejemplo, o sea, por otros artistas, como por ejemplo Machina y Supremacy?
Okay, moving on to the past, to the times of Bionic Commando, were you involved on the decision of allowing other artists to create other versions about the themes you created for this game, for Bionic Commando? We really love the music you created for the game, but there's other versions like the one that Christian just mentioned, like the Machina Supremacy, that are really good as well, that are awesome. So were you involved on that decision of allowing others to create versions?
Are you talking about the contest that we had, the official contest?
Yes. About the contest, yes.
Yeah, I think that was actually Ben Judd's idea. He was the producer from Capcom, and he had a lot of good ideas about how to promote the game and like involve community and fans in different ways and make them aware of the fact that Bionic Commando and Bionic Commando Rearmed were coming. So I think actually that was his idea.
¿Y hubo alguna versión que le gustase?
What was the version that you liked the most from the contest? Of those that got
I remember. I got a. That was. I mean, it's 11 years ago, so it's difficult to remember. But I follow that guy. I follow that guy on Twitter, I think. Let me see. I'm not following a lot of people on Twitter, so I'm gonna just scroll through my. Where is he? You can ask me the next question, so that there's no.
Don't worry about it.
Buscando eso. Estar activo en redes sociales significa también que cuando hay cosas, hay temas candentes, tienes que mojarte. Por ejemplo, comentó lo que ocurría con Skybound y Overkill. Creo que
Arrival is his name. A_rival.
A rival. Okay.
Yeah, Arrival. He did I remember he did a really good version.
Eso,
I will look for it.
que ese hombre hizo una versión que a él le gustó especialmente. Bueno, lo que comentaba, que siendo activo en redes sociales o participando en redes sociales, al final tienes que mojarte en los temas más candentes. Y por ejemplo, cuando hubo el problema con Skybound y Overkill, él se mojó. ¿Realmente cree que tiene que ser así? O sea, tiene que participar y...
So, moving back a little bit on the social media stuff, you were public about some topics that may impact you and the industry where you work. So you just express some opinions about all the trouble that happened with the Skybound and Overkills. You think that this is the right way for people that works on your industry to be vocal about the problems, about the stuff that happens, and try to make the industry better with that?
It's a difficult topic. Of course, I mean, if people are mistreated, if people feel like they're being mistreated and they're working too many hours and stuff like that, of course they have to be able to voice their opinion. But if people are not being, how should I put it? If you get your salary, you get the money, and someone tells you to do something, then it's just your job is to do that thing, and whether the game turns out good or not is really not up to you, and you don't have to stand for it. You don't have to be. You're not a representative, actually, towards the public for how the game turns out. So it's not your fault in the end, and you don't have to stand, and defend the game in any situation really. You were just a graphics artist or a composer or a sound designer or an animator or a programmer. I mean, there's like maybe 150 people involved in the production of such a game. So if the ideas for the game and the game design are not that great, then I don't think it's your right to really criticize the game or the company publicly. Not so soon after its release, at least, I tweeted about it. I don't think that Starbreeze are without faults. I mean, they are also responsible for how the game turned out, obviously. But I think it was a really bad move from Skybound's side to pull the license for the game and not allow Starbreeze to continue developing the game. They were kind of claiming that it was because it didn't meet their standards of quality. And there has been really bad examples of Walking Dead games in the past being released. So it seems like they're only saying that and pulling out of the deal for some other reason. I think it was not nice. I don't know how to. I want to curse here, but this is.
Yeah. Don't worry, we get the idea.
Vale, entonces básicamente todo esto se refiere a que hubo, cuando ya él no estaba en el estudio, Overkill sacó el juego de Walking Dead y el juego salió a la venta como salió, con varios problemas, y entonces Skybound le metió torta y lo criticó. Entonces lo que dice Simon es que vale, puede que Starbreeze tenga algo de culpa, puede que en el juego no fuese perfecto, pero lo que no puedes hacer es simplemente porque tú no te gusta un juego en el que tú has puesto dinero, porque tú pones un dinero para fabricar un juego. Pero si al final el producto que sale no te gusta, tampoco es plan de que vayas a destrozarlo, porque al final hay mucha gente trabajando en ese juego, no solamente, y hay mucho trabajo que quizás no se vea bien reflejado por un comentario aislado que sueltes en un momento de calentón. ¿Me dejo algo? Porque ha sido una respuesta muy larga.
No te estás dejando nada.
Perfecto. Vale, entonces... Y de la época de Payday, ¿cuál es la parte de la que más orgulloso te sientes? ¿Algún tema en concreto del que te sientas muy orgulloso? ¿Y cuál es el que dirías, me gustaría haberlo retocado un poco más?
Okay, so moving on to a more happy topics about the payday times when you were working on that. What's your most cherished memory about themes you composed back on the days? What's the one that makes you feel prouder about it?
I rather quickly I got stuck in a rut a little bit, like in terms of the composing and producing these action, the drum loops and the distorted synthesizer sounds and all it was the same sound all the way through. What was really fun was when we started making these live action trailers, and I was asked by the director of the trailers to start making sound-alikes or some sort music that was supposed to sound like we had actually licensed music, existing music, but it was actually written specifically for the trailer. And the first real example where that was a good, a nice fun project for me to try out was that 50s pop song that I did called The Flames of Love. And that obviously isn't one of those songs that are in the game when you play it, but it's tied to Payday because it was used in one of the trailers for one of the expansion packs, the barbecue pack, I think it was, where we had flamethrower and different fire-based weapons. So I actually got a budget. I wrote the song, I made a demo of the song, and I contacted different musicians. So we had drums and singers and piano, electric guitar, electric bass, and we recorded it live in the studio onto actual tape in mono, just like you did in the 50s, to make it sound authentic. And those, I think, are the most cherished memories, when I got to really go outside of my comfort zone and try to mimic or do some sort of music that wasn't really what I usually do, and that's been a lot of fun. It became sort of a thing. I did a power ballad, I did 80s rock, I did some hip hop, I did some other stuff as well, and that was all really fun.
Cool, really cool. And if you could get back to those days and if you think, okay, I want to improve this, I want to make something this I could make it better, what would you choose? What would you improve from what you did on Payday?
I would probably, there's a few tracks that I think I really like. I was going on autopilot and not, I didn't have a lot of passion doing it, but because I was so, I had created the sound for Payday, and it was really geared towards what I can do quite easily. Because of that, I could do the music even if I wasn't very inspired. And some of the tracks are, when I listen to them now, I'm like, this is not very good. But I think the way to improve the quality of the experience in the game, what you could do the most with is actually working on the implementation of the music, because the implementation of the music in Payday is really simple. It works, but it could be a lot better. Like the drum fills are not things do not match up, and the transitions between when the music is not as intense and then it's supposed to go into more intense music, then it switches, and Bane, the guy on the radio, comes on the radio and says something just to, not only, but in part it was because we wanted to make the transition appear smoother than it was. The music system could wait until the next beat and actually change on the beat, but it doesn't do that in Payday. And we sort of get away with that because people are so caught up in the game, and they're they're captivated by the action, and they're trying to stay alive, and it's an action-packed game. So you get away with it because people don't think about the music really. They perceive the music, but they don't actively think about it. So you get away with it. But I think that the implementation of the music is a little bit too primitive.
Vale.
Yeah.
Pedazo traducción que tenemos que hacer ahora. Bueno,
Sí.
resumiendo. Bueno, y luego lo vemos en el comentario que alguien nos dejó por aquí. Resumiendo, que lo que más me gustó de la época del Payday fue la canción que hizo con estilo de los 50. El nombre se me ha olvidado ahora mismo, pero bueno, que le gustó mucho porque lo hicieron exactamente como si fuese los 50. Es decir, cogían y fueron en estudio, grabaron en mono encima, con una banda real y con un cantante real y con todo real, y que eso fue lo que más le gustó. Y luego, la segunda parte de la pregunta, que era lo que menos se gusta, algo que hubiese mejorado, ha sido precioso porque ha explicado perfectamente cosas que nosotros como jugadores no nos enteramos. O sea,
Sí,
lo dice
exacto.
él. Estamos ahí en la tensión de no morir y no nos enteramos de lo que ocurre. Entonces, él dice que la forma de mezclar las fases de sigilo con las de acción en Payday, que sí, que funcionan porque van a pasos, ¿vale? Porque las dos partes van a pasos y entonces pasas de un paso de la parte de sigilo a un paso de la parte de acción. Y entonces, dice, funciona porque no estás muy atento, pero si te fijases mucho, y él se fija porque obviamente es su trabajo, siente que es muy primitiva esa forma de juntarlo. Así, haciendo un resumen básico.
Sí, es perfecto. Lo resumes perfecto, Cristian.
Ya, parece que lleve años haciendo entrevistas, pero bueno. Y bueno, antes de nada, ¿han hecho un comentario? Léeselo directamente si quieres.
Well, just before moving to the next question, some comments from the stream, from the viewers. Inspector 81, it's commenting, the Yakuza trailer was great, music, animation, story. He really loves it, apparently.
Yeah, is there a question?
No, it wasn't a question. It's a comment from a viewer.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
That's nice.
I wasn't clear about it. Sorry.
I actually read somewhere when I looked up the Yakuza trailer music on YouTube, and one guy commented that his Japanese mom heard the music and she thought that it sounded really authentic, like it was. Like those are the harmonies and those are the instruments and everything. It sounds like Japanese music, maybe not perfectly, but she said that music when people try to do Japanese music, it's usually a little bit off in terms of harmonies and stuff like that. But that was really nice to hear because I didn't do a lot of research in how I was just going by ear, like, oh, this sounds. This sounds Japanese, like I was like playing around, And apparently it turned out okay at least.
Vale, pues ahora pasaremos a GTFO, que es lo que todo el mundo estamos esperando realmente, porque lo anterior está muy bonito, ya está muy bien, pero vamos a pasar a GTFO. Entonces, para hacerlo un poco bien y para la gente que no lo sepa, vamos a pasar un momento aquí. Más que nada para que cuando yo haga así ahora y ponga esto, no lo veáis. Pongo esto en grande. Vamos a ver a Simon ahí arriba. Va a ser eso que tiene el cambio este. Entonces, pues eso, dile que vamos a hablar.
Well,
a ver
before moving on to questions about the Get the Fuck Out, we're gonna show the trailer to our viewers so they get a little context about the game.
Okay.
It comes every night without fail. There are different people every time.
Let's get this done quickly. Get whatever the warden want and get home.
But I recognize them somehow. They're screaming at me. I don't hear them, but I know they're screaming. Such hate and anger.
I hope you bastards are looking up once in a while. Those fuckers might be anywhere.
I don't know what I have done to them.
This place is so damn dark. Sleepers.
They want me to feel what they feel.
This is good, man. This is good stuff. It'll trade. Everything trades. Ah, fuck. To be honest, Eddie, keep your eyes on that door. Ah, shit, there's fucking loads of them.
Then I wake up. I'm not sweating or screaming. I'm perfectly calm. I just open my eyes and I'm awake. And it's not a nightmare. It's just part of me, who I am. I don't fight it. I just live around it.
Vale, pues eso era GTFO Out. Tenemos que hacer muchas cosas ahora. Ya sentimos que no está saliendo perfecto, pero es que con los problemas que hemos tenido con Skype y tal ha habido un pequeño Cristo. Pero bueno, más o menos lo estabais viéndolo todo como queríamos.
Sí. So, let's
Bueno, entonces,
let's
hemos hecho ya GTFO Out.
with the interview.
Lo primero, GTFO Out, el nombre. ¿Tiene algo que ver con alguna historia personal o de la compañía o qué?
Well, first question, it's a little bit complicated question again. It's about the name of the game, Get the Fuck Out. We were wondering here if it has anything to do with what we were talking before about past problems, past personal experiences, or it's just mere coincidence that has nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it's just for this game. It's not a comment on, trying to get out of the previous, companies or any relationship with previous colleagues or anything like that. There's nothing of that in there. And I have to also comment that the name of the game is actually not Get the Fuck Out, but it's GTFO.
GTFO. Okay.
Yeah, the name of the game is GTFO. So even if we're on a stream or in an interview where it's okay to curse, we would not say that the name is Get the Fuck Out, because the name is in all situations is GTFO.
Okay.
And of course, it makes you think of the expression "Get the Fuck Out," which suits the story of the game a lot, very well, because you're trapped inside this underground complex and you want to get out of there. You want to get the fuck out, basically. But there might be other things in the story, or we're trying to be a little bit ambiguous about what GTFO could stand for. But the name of the game is definitely GTFO.
GTFO.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vale,
Makes sense.
De hecho, el nombre no es que no tenga nada que ver solamente con su pasado, es casualidad, es solamente para este estudio, para este desarrollo, pero que además el nombre real no es Get the Fuck Out, o sea, no es salgamos de aquí cagando leches. Porque, vale, sí, coinciden las letras y pega muy bien con lo que es el juego, con la experiencia del juego, pero que puede que tenga algo que ver con otras cosas dentro de la historia.
Yeah. Sí, básicamente el juego es GTFO, no es el otro nombre que estamos diciendo, y es lo que ellos quieren hacer y quieren transmitir como nombre del juego.
Vale, pues tras un par de retrasos, finalmente hace poco pues se han sacado cuál va a ser su hoja de ruta de aquí al lanzamiento. Entonces, ¿qué falló para que hubiese tanto margen, tanto espacio de tiempo entre sus cálculos iniciales y lo que finalmente sigue?
Okay, so talking about the development of GTFO, you recently published finally the roadmap for the game, but you've had some issues with delays and stuff. So what happened? What troubles on production you guys have had that forced you for those delays and forced you to delay the publish for this roadmap, basically?
Basically, yeah, we have realized that GTFO will be a game that we will want to support for a long time post-release. We want to expand upon it. We want to add new interior sets and maps and weapons and tools and monsters and environmental hazards and challenges and everything. And every system in the game has to be designed in a way that allows it to be expanded upon. It can't be a one-off, tailored sort of thing that is in the game just for one purpose. We have to make it so that it can be reused, because we're a really small team, so we have to make it sort of streamlined for our small team to continue developing on top of. So in order for us to not have a lot of trouble down the line in the future when we're trying to update, or when we're going to expand upon the game. We will have to spend a lot of time now to create these systems and make them really solid. And we have had to like rip entire systems out of the game and replace them, like AI related stuff and map generation, rendering and optimization and all kinds of stuff, and redo them from the ground up because we want to make it like it has to be solid. So that that has eaten up a lot of time, and we're also realized that we have some ideas that we really need to test the game now with people from outside our studio, and not just invite our friends to the office. So we decided to start testing the game now, and rather than releasing it after the tests, we have to bring it into early access and continue developing the game in cooperation with the community. Basically, our philosophy is, what better way to develop a game about cooperation than in cooperation with the community.
Vale, pues básicamente que son un estudio pequeño, entonces necesitan que todo lo que hagan sea muy reutilizable después y que se pueda expandir. Porque tiene la idea de que después del lanzamiento del juego pues puedan expandirlo mucho y avanzar mucho sobre ello. Eso que ha hecho que hayan tenido que replantearse muchas cosas, han tenido problemas con el tema de la IA, han tenido no problemas, sino que se han replanteado ideas de la IA, de la creación de escenarios, de todo eso, y entonces prefieren perder tiempo ahora, utilizar más tiempo ahora para que esos fundamentos sean sólidos y que así el día de mañana, cuando quieran expandir el juego tal y como ellos tienen previsto, pues que sea mucho mejor. ¿Me dejo algo?
No.
Nos vamos a saltar la siguiente y vamos a ir a la siguiente pregunta. ¿Por qué? Está muy relacionado con lo que ha dicho, porque ahora estamos en un momento en el que los accesos anticipados están muy de moda. O sea, no hay ningún juego ya prácticamente que no saque un acceso anticipado. ¿Es la forma real de conseguir que el juego sea al final como uno quiere? ¿O es que os está convirtiendo en un mantra para que la gente sea tester gratuita y que no sea gratuita, sino que encima pague por jugar al videojuego?
Okay, so you mentioned about the early access just before. So, what do you think about the current trend on the industry about almost every single game that comes out nowadays have some kind of early access way, some kind of if you reserve the game in advance, you'll have early access and you can test it beforehand and stuff. So what do you think? Do you think it's good for the industry, or it's in some cases it's sort of making the end users of the game kind of unpaid testers or something like that? It's a complicated topic. I know. Probably it makes sense for small studios like yours, but we see that also in big games, in really big studio games. So it's a really complicated thing nowadays with the early access.
Yeah, I think first off you have to distinguish early access from like a beta test. Mm-hmm. So early access would be a process that could be 12 months. Or longer, where people actually purchase the game and know that it's not finished yet. So they get the same minute that they purchase the game, they will get access to the game in its current version, and they can play it. And it might not be finished, and that attracts a certain audience of people who want to be, gamers who want to be part of the development. Basically, they want to look for bugs and they want to be part of shaping the game. And then at a later point, it will come out of early access and be like a 1.0 version of that game. Whereas a beta test can be something that is just, from Friday to Sunday, they have opened the game and people can download and they can play the game for like 3 days or something, and then the company collects some data, or it can run for a week or something. The company collects some data and some feedback from the players, and they iron out some kinks and errors in the game based on that. And we're doing tests now, like alpha tests and beta tests and stuff like that. We're going to test the networks and network code and everything in the game. And then when it's polished enough, or rather bug-free enough, we will bring it into early access, and then that will be a long process to be in early access for a while. So we're doing both. But what I think you mean is, there's not a trend of early access, but there's a trend of selling the beta test as a reward for pre-ordering the game. That's not our philosophy at all. We think that the gamers are actually doing us a favor by testing our game. So we're never going to use the beta access as something, as a reward for people, and try to make people, pre-order the game or anything like that. Yeah. To get that, we want the help from the community, and I think it's a little bit cheap by some companies to try to attract the players by saying that you can get access to the game a little early, and then often it's not even a proper beta because it's maybe like 3-4 weeks before the game is supposed to be released, and that the game is pretty much finished. Maybe there's a few things that they can change, but it's not a proper beta. It's really just a demo, and they call it a beta and try to brand it as something more exclusive than just a demo, and make people feel, the gamers feel like they're being part of development a little bit more, or making it a little bit more sound more interesting than a demo, and I think it's a little bit shady. That's my opinion.
Vale.
Thank you very much.
Entonces, dice que hay que diferenciar entre lo que es un acceso anticipado y lo que es una beta, acceso a beta. Entonces, que para él el acceso anticipado está bien porque te permite ir ajustando más o menos con la gente que lo va probando, porque al final, cuando tú das acceso a un acceso anticipado, permites que la gente pueda ir viendo cómo vas desarrollando tú. O sea, es como una especie de premio a la gente que confía mucho en tu producto y para que puedan ir viendo cómo va el desarrollo. En cambio, una beta es simplemente, no puede cambiar nada del juego porque el juego ya está prácticamente terminado y es un periodo muy, muy corto de tiempo. Entonces pueden tener algún dato, corregir algún bug, pero no es algo muy serio, digamos, de cara al desarrollo del videojuego. Entonces, él cree que cuando son betas, accesos de betas y tal, pues hacen un poco de trampa a las compañías porque te lo venden como que es algo exclusivo, tal cual, pero en el fondo es pues probar el juego y ya está. Una demo amplificada. Vale, y ahora sí, estamos hablando de early access. De hecho, ha comentado que ellos van a pulir mucho su early access para cuando salga esté bastante pulido. ¿Cuándo tendremos el early access?
Well, the question that most people are asking themselves now is when do you think that the early access for GTFO will be available?
That's the thing. In our recent announcement, we said that we're not going to give any dates unless we're 100% sure. So probably the early access will be announced, pretty close to its actual release, which is probably a few months away still. What's interesting now is when will the alpha tests, begin, and people who sign up as ambassadors on our website, you just go there to our website, TenChambers.com or GTFOthegame.com, and you sign up with your email address. You will be invited later on to the alpha and beta tests, and we can't even say when that starts. That's before the early access launch. So we don't want to say it. We don't want to say, but it's probably. I'm not going to say anything actually. No. It's I'm tempted, but people people have to be just patient and be patient and just remember that we're not saying anything because we don't want to disappoint. We're working hard on this game, so just trust us. It's coming. When it's, the tests will start when it's ready to be tested, and the early access will start when it's ready for early access. It has to be bug-free, to a certain extent. It has to have come further than we've become now. And then once we're in early access, and then it's the same thing. When will the 1.0 version of the game be out? When will we graduate from early access? And we can't say. I have an idea about how many months from now probably we might release something, but I'm not gonna guess.
Again,
it's a guess even for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. Again, Inspector 81 on the chat on the stream is telling if alpha test will start with month, blink once. If 2 months, blink twice. Well, it was a good
I have to avoid blinking now, otherwise I'll send the wrong message here. Make people anticipate the game.
Básicamente, que no lo va a decir, ha estado a punto, o sea, ha habido un momento en el que ha estado a punto de decirlo, pero que no va a decir cuando se ha acceso anticipado. Para la Euskal, casi, no. Entonces, que quieren que, bueno, lo primero, que la gente pueda ir a su... que la gente pueda ir a la página para apuntarse como embajadores, porque los embajadores del juego... bueno, eso que tiene directo. Bueno, que los embajadores del juego tendrán acceso a la alfa, a una alfa anterior al propio Early Access. Entonces, que os apuntáis ahí y tenéis acceso a la alfa. Luego está la coña de que Inspector en el chat ha comentado si es dentro de un mes, pestañeo una vez, si es dentro de 2, guiñe el juego 2 veces. Pero no va a salir, ¿vale? Sorry for the sound is here.
Sorry about the ambient sound. We are in the LAN party right now, and some other activities are happening, so sometimes we have a little bit of noise.
I can hear you clearly, so no worries.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Vale, preguntan en el chat también, y bueno, pregunta si va a ser un juego más de terror. Bueno, esto podría estar relacionado con...
Sí, hasta el final.
¿Qué podemos esperar más del juego final? ¿Cómo definirías la visión que tenéis del juego o la experiencia que va a notar el jugador cuando esté una vez con la versión final del juego?
Okay, so talking about the game, what can we expect from the final, let's say, game? What's the vision that you and your studio have about the experience that the players will be able to enjoy on the final game?
Two of the basic ideas of GTFO is cooperation is first and foremost. We want to make a game that forces people to cooperate and really tests, challenges people's ability, the players' ability to cooperate with other players. So this is really the game for people who like maybe Rainbow Six, and then it's a strategic game. It's more similar, I'd say, to maybe Rainbow Six than Payday 2 in that regard. It's less arcadey, more strategic, more punishing, and your ability to communicate, coordinate attacks, just combining things in the loadout and make sure that you have tools and weapons that go well with the tools and weapons that the other players on the server have, and then also another aspect of it, I'd say, is this idea that we have different environmental hazards, different objectives that you're supposed to carry out, different monsters, different layouts of the maps, and then we can start mixing and matching those things, and it becomes this sort of Venn diagram where it's like, you have this enemy, and usually when you fight that enemy, it's not super tricky, but then we have this environmental, condition. Maybe it's the fog, or it's dark, or it's some kind of poisonous gas that forces you to go between like refill stations for the oxygen or things like that. And then when you combine those two, and you're in an expedition where you meet that particular enemy, and at the same time you have this condition, then it becomes this completely different beast. Like the monsters are really tough because you can't see them because of the fog, and then you can only use like a motion tracker or something to actually locate them and things like that. Like we're trying to really develop a game that becomes interesting, and over time we can introduce new interesting ways to and give you new angles on the content that we've made, and add on top of it as we go post release, we will continue to add monsters and things like that.
Vale, básicamente lo que ha venido a decir es que más que comparar con el PD2, que él lo quiere comparar con el Rainbow Six. ¿Por qué? Porque este juego va a estar muy centrado en la cooperación. Pero la cooperación hasta un punto extremo, y una cooperación que se va a notar no solamente en la forma en la que tú juegas con tus compañeros, porque eso pues, por ejemplo lo tienes en el Rainbow Six, sino que también vas a tener que tener en cuenta tanto los enemigos, que pueden ser más difíciles o menos difíciles, pero también el entorno. La combinación de la coordinación del equipo, el entorno y los enemigos será lo que haga de esa experiencia una experiencia única, porque por ejemplo un enemigo que por sí solo sea muy soso, muy sosete, muy fácil de matar, en ciertos entornos, por ejemplo que haya mucha niebla o que haya mucho gas, tal y cual, pueden hacer que el juego sea más complicado, ¿vale? Vemos que está comentando aquí, respondiendo en directo.
Thanks a lot for interacting on the chat, Simon.
Bueno, para los
Really
que no estáis
appreciate it.
viendo el chat, habían preguntado si el juego iba a ser uy. Si va a estar, si va a basar en un servidor de un participante o si va a ser servidores externos, más o menos. Y responde Simon que peer-to-peer, o sea,
Yeah.
por usuario.
Exacto, correcto.
Correcto. Vale, comentaban también en el chat si el juego iba a ser más de tiros que
de tiros o de terror, sí.
O de terror. A ver cuánta parte de terror y cuánta parte de tiros.
So another comment that was on the chat, Simon.
In Spanish this time, so no podría responder.
Well, they commented on Spanish that if the game is gonna be more biased towards the terror side or more biased towards the FPS side. What can you tell us about that?
It'll be geared towards the FPS side, I'd say, because we call it an action horror game, and action comes before horror. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be. The experience is going to be more hinged. The interest from the gamer, I think, is going to be hinged on, the sneaking and the using the tools and preparing for the fights and surviving the fights and that stuff, more than, the horror aspect of it. We're trying to make a really, scary game, but already by the fact that we allow people to play together with others, we're losing a lot of, the fear factor, sort of, because horror games almost exclusively or always rely on, you're alone. And it's dark, and we have already ditched one of those things where you're not alone. Yeah. It's dark, but you're not alone, so it's a little bit less scary.
You're buying me with that, because I really don't like horror games, because the fact that you're alone, the cooperative side of this, you're really buying me with that.
Yeah, that's nice. I think we can reach an audience that are sort of casual horror fans, but hardcore FPS fans. I think that's the right, then you're the right type of person for GTFO.
Hay otra buena pregunta en el chat, que preguntan que si el juego la historia del juego será algo que la explicarán directamente o será algo que tengamos que ir descubriendo a lo largo de jugamos.
Well, another question from the viewers. They're asking if the story will be told in a really direct and obvious way, or it will be something that we have to unveil some secret about that story to try to discover what's going on.
It will be more indirect. We really don't have the capacity to make story missions and with a lot of story-specific dialogue and obviously no cutscenes or cinematic sequences and things like that. So it'll be told more through discovering logs and chunks of data, hacking computers and finding things out and sort of revealing the lore and the backstory of the place that you're in, and unearthing the truths about these mysteries, like where did the monsters come from and who ran the complex and what was the purpose of the complex when it was still operational, why was it abandoned, and why are you there and can you escape?
Mm-hmm.
Vamos, que va a ser un juego en el que la historia no se va a contar de forma con cinemáticas, sino que va a ser algo que vamos a ir descubriendo poco a poco y que tendremos que ser nosotros los que juntemos todas las piezas para saber por qué estaba pasando eso, por qué cuando esa fábrica está haciendo lo que está haciendo, por qué existen esos monstruos ahora y demás. Comentando que íbamos a entrevistarte, hubo una que me comentó, a ver si esta vez la música no es una rave constante. Ya pasando a tu parte, porque estamos hablando todo el rato de modo diseñador, diseñador de juego, pasando a la partida de compositor, ¿cómo va a ser la música de GTFO?
So, moving a little bit from the design part of the game, moving more to the music, to the your composer side. Well, we have a joke about the colleague here when they know that we went to do this interview with you, and he said that I hope it's not all electronic rave music all the time. Jokes aside, what style or genres can we expect on the music on GTFO?
Yeah, I think your colleague is going to be very happy because there's pretty much no... the music in GTFO was very, very different from Payday the Heist. And I guess, he's referring to Payday the Heist, the soundtrack for Payday the Heist, which contains a lot of, club-inspired music. It's almost like dance music, and it's supposed to be very empowering because Payday 2 is a power fantasy. You get to play this awesome, bank robber, and you're wearing a cool mask, and you're running into a place, and you got the gun, and you're taking hostages, and it's escapism. Whereas GTFO, it's not escapism. This is not you don't want to be in this place. So the music is the same. It's trying to tell you that this is not a comfortable place to be in. So the music is very it's random. It's out of tune, and it's eerie and scary and creepy, and when there's drums and things like rhythms coming in, it's not supposed to be like something that you can groove to or anything. It's not supposed to be music that you can dig. So yeah, the music is very chaotic and eerie, really. So I've come to terms with the fact that the GTFO soundtrack will never be as popular as the Payday 2 soundtrack, because I get, contacted by people all the time who say that I use the soundtrack to, when I work out or when I drive my car or when I'm out running or something like that. GTFO soundtrack is not going to work outside of the game. People are not going to be enjoying the music for GTFO outside of the experience of playing the game. The music is very much tailored to the experience of the game, and it's made to emphasize the feelings of the game. And it's a horror game, so yeah, naturally the music is going to be not so
scary.
Scary.
Cool. De hecho, bueno, los que no lo sepáis, en su página web hizo un mix de músicas para precisamente entrenar, porque ha dicho, sí, porque la gente cuando escuchaba música decía, del Payday 2 decía, yo lo utilizo para ir a hacer ejercicio, tal cual. Pues él, además de todo lo que ha hecho para Payday 2, en su página web tiene una mezcla de música para momentos de ejercicio de alta intensidad. Entonces, que quien quiera visitarlo, que Simon visite la página de Simon y ahí puede encontrar esa musiquilla.
Sí, pero vamos, lo que estaba diciendo en respuesta a la pregunta es eso, básicamente que no esperemos el mismo tipo de música que en Payday 2 o en Heist.
Que de hecho él es consciente de que precisamente por eso no va a ser tan famosa su música.
Exacto.
Pero... Y bueno, si quieres decirlo en inglés para que pueda decir su página y que...
Yeah. Well, we were commenting about what you just said, the people that uses the music for workout, for other things outside of the game. That Christian commented that in your website and your YouTube channel that we talked before, that you have some mixes there that people can use for that as well. But yeah, it's not gonna. We were commenting on Spanish that it's not gonna happen probably, as you were telling us with this now with the GTFO, because of that. Because if music that is meant to be scary, is meant to be to make you feel okay, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
And I recommend going to your website and check the.
We recommend the people to check out for themselves other past music you made. But getting back into the topic, And about the challenges, what's the biggest challenge you're facing to create this new score for GTFO?
I've put the bar really high in terms of implementation. As I mentioned earlier, the implementation of the music in Payday the Heist and Payday 2 is very primitive, and you get away with it. But for GTFO, early on in the project, I decided that, okay, I'm going to raise the bar a lot and make the music a lot more integrated into the experience and react a lot more to what the player is doing. So there's like subtle little stingers and things that can come into the music, like layers of music that can come in or disappear based on what the player is experiencing. So the music is a lot more adaptive, a lot more flexible and nuanced in terms of how it reacts to what actually happens in the game. And I think that is actually how game music is supposed to be. Like, it's not supposed to be this finished track that plays the same regardless of what happens in the game. But if you're if you're chased by monsters, then there's one layer of music. But then as soon as you run around a corner and they can't see you, maybe they will lose sight of you and you will get away. Then the music it still has stress because you don't know for sure if you got away, but some of those super intense instruments will kind of fade away so that you feel that you don't have monsters actually looking at you right now. So things like that. It's a lot more about how I put the music into the game, into the experience, and weave it into the code of the game, like based on how many of your teammates are downed, your health and your ammunition levels and things like that, to make it so that the music actually reflects what you as a player are feeling at the moment.
That's really, really cool.
O sea, yo ya estaba metido muy en GTFO, pero
Please.
Es que lo que ha comentado ahora es brutal, porque está comentando que su mayor reto a la hora de hacer la música para GTFO es hacer que la música se adapte muchísimo mejor. Lo que antes he dicho, sí, porque la de PD es una cosa muy burda ahí, que se juntan a pasos y ya está. Pero ahora no, ahora va a ser mucho más sutil. Ahora va a ser que, por ejemplo, tú eres perseguido por un enemigo, ¿vale? Te giras una esquina y ya el enemigo te deja de ver. Entonces la música no va a dejar de ser tensión porque sigues teniendo un enemigo cerca, pero que va a hacer que la sensación siga siendo de tensión, pero un poco menor, que no te está viendo directamente, pero que siga habiendo tensión. O sea,
sí, que te indique, que te ayude a estar inmerso en el juego, que refleje lo que tú sientes jugándolo.
Que el paso de un estado a otro no sea brusco, sino que sea interesante.
Exacto.
Wow. Tenemos un músico en la sala.
Wow. Well, another question from the viewers. They are asking, have you considered the use of false crescendos to control the player further and to more actively affect them rather than reacting to them?
Yeah, it's a balance. Like you want to react to what the player, what's happening to the player, especially during combat when the player's really like focused on, just shooting and stuff like that. You want, like, if you introduce a new big enemy, then you have some sort of a boom, 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 big drums coming in or something like that, and then players can actually listen to the music and find out, information about the battlefield or the battle zone, sort of. But during exploration and when you're sneaking around, then it's a lot more fun to play with things in the music that maybe indicate something that isn't really true. So when you walk through a door or, around a corner or something like that, you have some sort of a, some scary sound. And it makes the player, really anxious and scared, and sort of, on their toes, really. So yeah, it's a balance. You want to react, but you also want to sort of influence the player a little bit. Yes. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to play around with and try to find that balance.
Vale, teníamos más preguntas, pero se nos está echando el tiempo encima vemos que le están hablando aquí al pobre Simon. Así que vamos a ir acabando con una pregunta. El juego ya está disponible, vamos a hacer un poco de public. El juego ya está disponible en Steam. Bueno, no está disponible, puedes decir que es deseados en Steam. Podemos esperar. Literally.
Hi.
Entonces, ¿podemos esperar que el juego siga saliendo en Steam o puede que el día de mañana llegue Epic y diga sales en la Epic Store? ¿Qué opinas de lo que está sucediendo con Steam y Epic?
Okay, so we're running a little bit out of time, and we don't want to take more time from you, obviously. So, as a last question, the game is it's already available on Steam, and probably will go to the Epic Store. What do you think about this? It's gonna happen that it's gonna appear on the Epic Store as well. What do you think about the exclusive agreements that the Epic Store is using to secure games, forcing them to get out of other platforms and stuff?
Did you just say that GTFO is available on Steam?
No.
No.
That you can put it in the wishlist.
Okay, that you can
Exactly.
put it on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
wishlist. Sorry,
It has a.
got
Yeah.
wrong that.
It's not available yet.
Okay.
We will stay on Steam. We're sure about that, and we're not about to go exclusive on the Epic Game Store. I think competition is good, because Steam is not perfect in every way, and they may things will improve if they have someone to make for them to compete with. But I do not think that exclusivity to any specific storefront is the way to go. That's not the correct way to compete. Yeah, hola. She barely speaks Swedish, so you have to excuse her.
Nah, don't worry.
Hola.
Hola.
Bueno, pues nada, para despedirnos ya, que muchas gracias por haber venido y que a ver si tiene algún mensaje que ir a lanzar a la comunidad de jugadores de GTFO.
Well, Simon, as we said, we don't want to take more time away for you, away from your family. So, just to finish, thank you very much for being with us today. This has been great to have you with us. Any final message you want to send to the community that is waiting for the GTFO?
I just want to say that anyone who's interested in the game and curious about GTFO in any way, especially if you're a horror fan, a first-person shooter fan, and cooperative gamer, then you got to check it out. You got to check out you showed the trailer already, but what I would encourage people to do is sign up as ambassadors, and you will get an email every once in a while when we have updates on the development. Sometimes we have some exclusive stuff. Like interviews with the voice actors or behind the scenes stuff, and we release some info early to the ambassadors earlier, before it's even released to the press. So yeah, sign up as an ambassador and you will get in on the tests. If you want to test the game even before early access, then you will have the opportunity.
Pues nada, eso ha sido todo. Muchísimas gracias, Simon. Y nosotros seguimos. Vamos a cortar un momento porque tenemos que arreglar un par de cosillas que se han estropeado con el stream. Pero que seguimos en un momento con Rob con A Million to One Hero. Hasta ahora.
Thank you very much, Simon. Bye bye.
Bye.